Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Got to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah. The Most High, the Heavenly Father, his Hebrew name is Yahweh. Not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah, not Abba, not Yahuwah. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua, not Yahusha. It's Yahweh Shah. So we got to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rikah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether accepted or not. And a sincere salutation to all the Akim, pushing this truth and believing this truth. But the four winds of the earth, the entire world, shedding light to the hopeful elect. Shalom to the Agua who are listening learning. You few sisters who are listening learning. Come to another lesson in truth, faith, and edification. Another day of edification, Lord wants to be edified. I'm outside from Jim Mesolano Camp, and the title is lesson. Food, water, and supplies is a siege. Is and the siege. Because I was thinking about what happened in during the Babylonian Empire, and you had the Edomites, Titus and Vespasian in 70 AD. And you also had this time in Second Kings. Let me see if I can get this real quick. In Second Kings, or is it First Kings? Yeah, Second Kings 6:24 reads, and it came to pass after this that Ben Hadad, which is Bun Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his hosts and went up and besieged Samaria. So when you besiege, you cut off the food and the water and the supplies. Though this might not be, that's what this is. I was just meditating on if all these ports is being shut down, there ain't no food coming in and out. And what happened during the time of the king of Assyria, right here, Ben Hadad, which was an Edomite. Ben Hadad was an Edomite. So when the besiege happened, there is nothing going in or out. Food, water, supplies, um, uh, 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 yeah, supplies. To sum up, basically everything: food, water, supplies. There was nothing going back and forth. So though this ain't what this is, I was just thinking about the 70 AD, and when you read about the Babylonians surrounded Jerusalem, and the Edomites surrounded Jerusalem in 70 AD, and there was like months, man, 18 months. Jerusalem was besieged and wasn't no food. So whatever was already in, and it's just something I'm meditating on, whatever was already in south of Jerusalem, like right now, whatever in the grocery stores right now, the Costco's, the BJ's, the Whole Foods, all this, the Walmarts, the Publix, these different stores in your city, whatever is in the city now, it's finna be panic buying. And if ain't nothing else coming in, can you survive? Will you be able to survive without Yahweh Shema Shah? Just something I was thinking about, man. What if no more? What if no more? What if this is the one with no more trucks? Ain't no more trucks delivering food to the grocery stores. Ain't no more nothing. And all that's left is what's already in the stores now. It's just something. So I just titled that kind of like a clickbait title. But I got these articles, right? So I want to play some of these because there's a lot going on. And as I was watching the elder brother, Amawan Gabar, and he titled his lesson, Cause this is where we at, man. Let me pull it up. He titled his lesson. Let me see here. It was titled. No, hold on. Where is it? Right here. Port strike, panic buying, order op KO, MOTB mandate, Middle East conflict, prophecies speaking. So I got these articles. So I want to play some of this because this right here is heavy. The title of this, it says, let me go to it. It's a pro-Putin NATO nation exposes U.S. led West over Ukraine war. West does business with Ukraine, but whatever. Look, it's a pro-Putin NATO nation exposes U.S. Listen to some of this.
Honestly, whether weapon deliveries have made any sense. And obviously,
hold on. It's a pro-Putin NATO nation exposes U.S. This caught my eye, man.
We have to raise the question honestly, whether weapon deliveries have made any sense. And obviously, they have made no sense. I do hope that those who are still thinking about delivering more to Ukraine will consider this impact and this consequence as well. If Western weapons will be allowed to be targeted at strategic depth for Russia, that would cause a serious risk of escalation for sure. Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, unfortunately, I have to start by saying that we are living in the age of dangers. And 34 years ago, when we got rid of our communist oppressors and we shifted from a one-party dictatorship to parliamentary democracy, and we shifted from a planned communist economy to market economy, or 25 years ago when we joined NATO, or 21 years ago when we joined the European Union, we would not have thought that we will be faced once again with the phantom of Cold War.
This is cold. And the 10-year Revelation said they shall give their kingdom to the beast, right? Because they have no kingdom as yet. And they should give their kingdom to the beast, man. See? He said we never thought this would happen. Listen, this is heavy. Hold on. Oh man. Come on, man. Let's go back. I gotta run this back. Salakia. Let's go back. Gotta go back, man. Cause they should make their own tongue and fall upon themselves. This is beautiful, man. I love it, man. Let's go back to this right after this.
Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, unfortunately, I have to start by saying that we are living in the age of dangers. And 34 years ago, when we got rid of our communist oppressors.
Yeah, and that's 2 Timothy 3:1. Perilous times shall come. He said it. We're living in some dangerous times. Beautiful, man.
And we shifted from a one-party dictatorship to parliamentary democracy. and we shifted from a planned communist economy to market economy. Or 25 years ago when we joined NATO, or 21 years ago when we joined the European Union, we would not have thought that we will be faced once again with the phantom of Cold War. And similarly, a couple of years ago, we would not have thought that war would return to Europe. And dear colleagues, your excellencies, nowadays this is the reality. We are faced with the phantom of the Cold War, and war returned to Europe.
See?
I'm
Lord
representing
say in Ezekiel 38, he's going to turn it, going to put the hooks into the jaws of the Soviet Union, man.
Hungary, a country which is a neighboring country to Ukraine. That means that for the last 2.5 years, we have been living in the shadow of a war. 2.5 years, almost 1,000 days. And we have been confronted with the consequences. 1.3 million refugees. Even nowadays, there are several hundreds of schools and kindergartens in Hungary which enroll the children of the refugee families. And we have been paying a price of a war which is not our war, and for the outbreak of which we do not bear any kind of responsibility. So I do believe that almost after 1,000 days, the real question is not what we do think about the war, but the real question is how peace could be made. Or even more precisely, Mr. President, the question is, which is the fastest way to peace? Because we have to pick that one, the fastest one.
See? So I want to show that. Because they're against, it's a pro-Putin NATO nation exposes U.S. This is the leader for Hungary, man. He said we losing. We didn't sign up for this. So hold on. I got a lot here, Lord willing. Let's get I got a few here. Let me get this guy here out the way. This is let's get this. Hold on. Okay. Now, Tel Aviv, now, they say 8, 9 dead in Tel Aviv. Now, this is where they have the biggest parade on the planet Earth. See the wickedness that's going on in the land? Let's play this. It's only a minute. See? Hold on. It's going down, man. Let me play some of this guy, Glenn Beck. Oh, let me play this one first. So here's the other one. Hopefully, no infomercial.
In those anxious hours before the Israeli military, or excuse me, after the Israeli military spokesman told the public here underway, there was a shooting in the Jaffa area that's south of downtown Tel Aviv. And Israeli police are saying at least 4 civilians were killed by at least 2 gunmen who appear to have opened fire on the light rail in southern Tel Aviv. Now, U.S. officials are saying the overall death toll may be higher still, maybe closer to 8 or 9. But while it appears, according to the Israeli military, that no one was killed as a result of these Iranian missile attacks, it appears that there are at least 4 people killed in this shooting attack. It looks, according to some of the images we're starting to see, like one of the gunmen was armed with some kind of semi-automatic rifle, appears to have opened fire on one of these light rail trains and then continued shooting on the platform after disembarking. Israeli police are saying both of the suspects are dead. There are a number of wounded people. Their conditions are unclear. So while it may be that Israel has got through this night without anyone killed as a result of these Iranian missiles, it is not the case that no one has died a violent death in Israel tonight. And it just goes to show you, Lester, just the unbelievably heightened tensions all across the Middle East. We do not know the motivation of these shooters at this point, but it is hard to believe that it is totally unrelated to the massive loss of life that we have been seeing all across the region these last.
See, what's supposed to happen when wickedness going on in that land, man? What's supposed to happen? This is supposed to be the Holy Land. All right, let's get this. It's all across the board, man. Now this is from let me see here. This is from Glenn Beck. I'm gonna play some of this, not all of it. Just some of this.
Let me take you first to another issue. You know, you get up this morning, scrolling through your phone, checking your news feed, having a cup of coffee, and then there's this headline: U.S. port workers begin nationwide strike. Okay, good. Now you could just blow this off because the ports and, you know, dock workers sounds distant. You know,
it was the worst season of The Wire.
Okay,
you know,
right.
So it's the kind of the one you skip.
Sure.
I feel like.
Okay, this one is about to reach out right into your home, your wallet, your daily life. So I need to explain what's coming our way. First, in week 1, in the first week, you might not notice much. So there's no reason to panic. You can go and go to the store and stock up on some things, but there's no reason to run out and do that this week. Your online orders are still arriving. Maybe you hear a blip on the news about some ships stuck offshore, for a few industries hinting at some delays. But for most people, life is going to go on as normal in week 1. It started last night. Now, behind the scenes, things are starting to shake and crack a little bit. Retailers, manufacturers, and businesses that depend on regular shipments are beginning to feel the pinch in week 1. The just-in-time supply system, you know, that we all learned about in COVID, that's beginning to have a little bit of a strain, and it's starting to wobble a little bit. And while the shelves are still full for now, the stock rooms in the back are running thin.
Mm-hmm. By
week 2, by the second week, you're going to start feeling things. So next week, maybe midweek, if it's still going on, maybe you head for the store and something as simple as bananas or a pair of new shoes, suddenly the shelves aren't as full. Some items just aren't there. Fresh avocados or berries that you've gotten used to, they're sitting on ships waiting to dock. And it's not just food. It's electronics, it's clothing, even toys for your kids. They start becoming harder to find. Prices, by week 2, they may start on some items to inch upward. Businesses are now scrambling to get their hands on what's left, and the competition drives up costs. That cheap TV that you were thinking of buying, you may have to add anywhere from 10 to 30% to the price tag by the end of week 2. If you were planning on doing some home repairs or upgrades, good luck. All of the tools and materials are sitting in crates, gathering dust at the ports. This is also a problem because of the hurricane. Anything that you get at Home Depot is going to be in short supply because of the hurricane, and by week 2, the dock workers strike. Now, by the 3rd week, if it goes on that long, now we're getting into some problems. It's no longer just a shortage of bananas or phone chargers. Entire industries begin to slow down. Factories that rely on parts from overseas just in time can't keep running. So the workers in those factories, people you might know, maybe it is you, are getting furloughed, sent home without pay because there's nothing for you to build. Grocery stores begin to ration some items and limiting on some items how much you can buy. Now, at this point, the strike is not a nuisance. This is week 3. This point in week 3, it becomes a crisis. The online orders you placed, delayed, weeks out. Businesses are pleading with the government for help by now, but even if the strike ended in week 3, it would take weeks to untangle the mess at the ports. By now, inflation is beginning to rear its ugly head. Everything from groceries to gas to clothes is more expensive than it was just 2 weeks ago. Week 4. This is when it becomes the full weight of the strike is unavoidable, and I believe it becomes a national security problem. And possibly by this time in week 4, it is just one part of what I am looking for, and we'll explain later on the show, a polycrisis. A polycrisis is what will take us out in a knockout blow. And you already have a little bit of a polycrisis with the dock workers and the hurricane. Small businesses are now closing their doors because they can't get their inventory. Grocery store shelves are sparse with some items missing altogether. Your favorite brands might be out of stock. Maybe you head to the hardware store only to find that the building materials you need are either unavailable or so expensive they're out of reach. Now let's talk long term. Timing couldn't be worse because we're heading into fall. And you know what that means. The holiday season. Retailers are counting on the next few months for a huge chunk of their sales, and the Christmas gifts you've been eyeing, there's a good chance they won't make it in time for Christmas. Toys, electronics, clothing, they're sitting in ships or back-ordered at factories. They can't get the parts. Even if the strike ends after 4 weeks, the backlog will last for months. Shipping will be slow, and prices, you'll be paying a premium for anything you can find. So
this is the point I want to make. This, and Lord willing, this is it. Lord willing, this is it. But it may not be. But Lord willing, this is it. Because this is going to lead to all hell breaking loose, man. Famine all over. If the workers ain't unloading these ships when they pull up, because the ship get unloaded and they keep it moving, the next ship pull up, just like people at the gas pumps trying to get gas. This shit is backed up. So then, if the ships ain't getting unloaded to get put on these 18-wheelers, for these 18-wheelers to bring the groceries and everything else to these stores, whatever in the stores now, people panic buying, so ain't gonna be shit left. Man, if this go on for 2 weeks, man, it's gonna be hell in America, man. This is gonna cause people to come and steal and break in and take their neighbor's stuff, man. This is what the scripture's talking about. So, Lord willing, this is it. This, but if it ain't, This is how Jacob Trouble is going to start, man. They're going to stop the food from coming in. They're going to stop all the water, food, and supplies from coming in. This is how Jacob Trouble going to happen, man. If this ain't it, this is Yahweh Shema Shai showing us, the Lord always showing us examples, always sending us messages on how things are going to happen. And this is how Jacob Trouble going to happen, man. The elite's going to stop the food from coming in. This is heavy, man. Because if this continues for 2 weeks, the Walmarts in every state ain't going to have no food, man. Ain't going to have no nothing.
So here's what you need to know. Week 1, just be aware. If you want to get some fruit and you have some extra fruit in the house, for week 2, if it goes on that line, great. I can't imagine that this strike goes on very long because it will create a national emergency. However, I'm not sure if our president is too busy lathering on sunscreen at the beach, or if his goals are just not the same as our goals to keep America safe and healthy. So I don't know why. Remember the train negotiation? He kept the trains running. We kept the trains running. He got involved immediately. And he made sure that strike didn't happen. Well, where is he now? And the media is saying, well, he can't really do anything, can't really, maybe in a couple of weeks. Really? Maybe in a couple of weeks. He stopped the train thing from going into a strike. Why isn't he involved this time? He's Mr. Labor Union. So I don't know what's happening. In a normal America, the president would make sure this strike was settled. But wait until you hear what they're asking for and what they've already turned down. So if it goes 4 weeks, truckers, rail workers, warehouses will be overwhelmed trying to just move everything. Prices will stay high through the holiday season. Supply chains will struggle to recover. Holiday shopping season is going to be leaner, fewer options on the shelves, less to spend because inflation is going to chip away at your budget again. The economic hit won't be limited just to higher prices. Jobs will be lost as industry scramble to adapt disruptions. Companies may start shifting operations to avoid reliance on our U.S. ports in the future. That's great, huh? Potentially relocating manufacturing or looking to automate more of their processes to reduce reliance on labor. That will mean fewer jobs for the very workers that are striking today in the long run. So when you hear about the port thing, no, this is a very serious issue. Not today, but if you want to be prepared, don't go crazy at a Costco. Just make sure you have what your family needs in case things get worse. Because I have no idea what will happen. Now, let me take a quick 1-minute break and come back and tell you what they're asking for.
Man, if this continues, man, it's gonna be MDK out here, man. Lord willing, this is it. Lord willing, man. I pray to y'all about Shema Shai that this is it, man. Let me get this. Because Jake think this is a game. Yahweh Shema Shai been sending the message out to warn Jake to seek Yahweh Shema Shai while the evil days come not, and they would not do it. And this is one that the elder brother Amawang Gabar put up.
Israel's ground invasion into Lebanon that we told you about a few minutes ago on the show, it appears to have officially started in a moment unlike anything we've seen in decades. This is a live look here at Beirut, as the whole region is just teetering on the edge.
Yeah, but Shema Shai stirring up jealousy, man. Like I said in Isaiah 14. The Lord is vexed with Babylon the Great and and the state of Israel, man, and these Edomites. The Lord is stirring up jealousy, man, all
Several
over the planet.
Israeli airstrikes have hit the southern suburbs of Beirut. A series of loud explosions were heard across the city just after midnight.
You're looking at heavy artillery fire in border towns. Local media here are already reporting that they can see tanks in a town called Ramesh in southern Lebanon.
There was intense Israeli artillery fire into villages on the other side of that border where Hezbollah forces, according to the Israeli military, have been positioned.
Let me just tell viewers that Yemen's Houthis have just said they will escalate their military operations in response to the Israeli attacks over the weekend.
Izdihar Al-Thawani told me she thinks if Israel does invade, it will only make Hezbollah stronger because guerrilla war is the group's specialty.
And so we're entering a very, very tricky phase of this. I think the U.S. will be pushing for ceasefire. I think the Israelis will not be listening. And to the extent to which this goes beyond the kind of surgical strikes that we've seen recently, I think international opinion will quickly turn against the Israelis.
Look at this. It say Kirk upgraded to Hurricane Tropical Depression could form this week. Man, let me get this. So when I was on what was that? The pro Putin, right? The pro Putin. On the side, it got, they done changed it up. So never mind. It had some articles on the side. Let me come back to me and get this. Just showing you this in the news, man. And I'm gonna go back to this guy, Glenn Beck. I want to show this too here. Let's get this. And I got an article I want to read right here. It says disabling a nuclear weapon in mid-flight. This tech could literally save the world. Now it reads, in 1956, Henry Kissinger speculated in Foreign Affairs about how the nuclear stalemate between the United States and Soviet Union could force national security officials into a terrible dilemma. His thesis was that the United States risked sending a signal to potential aggressors that faced with conflict, defense officials would have only two choices: settle for peace at any price. This is what this guy just said, the pro-Putin, NATO. He said, we need peace. Or retaliate with thermonuclear ruin. Not only had victory in all-out war become technically impossible, Kissinger wrote, but in addition, which he's in the spiritual realm now, it could no longer be imposed at acceptable cost. His conclusion was that decision makers needed better options between these catastrophic extremes, and yet this gaping hope in nuclear response policy persists to this day. With Russia and China leading an alliance actively opposing Western and like-minded nations, with war in Europe and the Middle East, spiraling tensions in Asia, it would not be histrionic, let me type this word in. Hold on. Yeah, first time for everything. Never seen it, so let me see what it say. Histrionic. It look like it says. Hold on. Histrionic. Let's see here. See what it say. Let's see here.
Histrionic.
Histrionic. To suggest that the future of the planet is at stake. It is time to find a way past this dead end. 70 years ago, only the Soviet Union and United States posed nuclear weapons. Today, there are 8 or 9 countries that have weapons of mass destruction. 3 of them, Russia, China, and North Korea, have publicly declared irreconcilable opposition to American-style liberal democracy. It reads, their antagonism creates an urgent security challenge during its war with Ukraine. Now in its 3rd year, Russian leadership has repeatedly threatened to use tactical nuclear weapons. Then earlier this year, the Putin government blocked United Nations enforcement of North Korea's compliance with international sanctions, enabling the Hermit Kingdom to more easily circumvent access restrictions on nuclear technology. Thousands of nuclear missiles can be in the air within minutes of a launch command. The consequences of an operational mistake or security miscalculation would be the obliteration of global society. Obliteration. Considering in this light, there is arguably no more urgent or moral necessary imperative than devising a means of neutralizing nuclear-equipped missiles mid-flight should such a mistake occur. Today, the delivery of a nuclear package is irreversible. Once the launch command has been given, it is impossible to recall or to deactivate a land-based, sea-based, or cruise missile once they are on their way. And they tell you that in Sirach, in the 2nd Ezra 16, it said once the missiles get shot off, you cannot call them back. That's in 2nd Ezra 16. It reads, this is a deliberate policy and design choice born of concern that electronic sabotage, for example, in the form of hostile radio signals, could disable the weapons once they are in flight. And that's a lie, because it tell you in Joel 3 that America don't have a missile defense system. Oh, I just did last night just did. It said that the missile that Iran shot off, the Iron Dome, couldn't protect them. And Russia stopped the Russian missile defense system, blocked U.S. missiles from hitting Syria. I just did a lesson on that last night. So then I want to get this. Oh, I wasn't even showing that. So it's a lock. Hold on. I thought I had that pulled up. That was my bad. I thought I had that pulled up. I was reading from here. I was reading from this. Disabling a nuclear weapon in mid-flight. It's a lock. I ain't know. I've been in the camera the whole time. So that's what I was reading from. I thought I had it pulled up, so it's lucky for that. But there is no missile defense system that can stop Russia there's no missiles that can be shot off from America that the Russian missile defense system can't stop. And the missile defense system that America has and Iran has can't stop the missiles from Russia. So let me get this. Man, there's a lot going on, man. This right here. Here's another article I saw. Cause this is what they're going back to. And I mentioned this from time to time. I actually just mentioned this last Friday. U.S. economy is on the cusp of another roaring 20s, says UBS. And remember, in 1929, there was the crash in 1929. So they're saying this is what Babylon the Great going back to, man. U.S. economy is on the cusp of another roaring 20s, says UBS. And see these bastards. Oh, okay, hold on. They won't let me. See, they won't give me the read on it. I gotta subscribe to get into it. They won't let me get the read on it. Hold on, let me go back and see. Yeah, because this is Fortune. They won't even let me get the read on it, but it's okay. He said the American economy is seemingly faring so well that UBS has signaled a potential return to the glory days. Ush. See, they won't even let me get it, but it's okay. Screw them. But this is where we at though, allegedly. Ain't no more glory days for Babylon the Great, man. This place is through. So let me go back to old boy, and I'm gonna get a couple pre-sales. Babylon the Great is through, man. Shalom to the Akimawa to the knee, yeah, but Shema Shabrak. So let's go back to this. A little bit more of this.
Is not a nuisance. This is week 3. This point in week 3, it becomes a crisis. The online orders you placed, delayed, weeks out. Businesses are pleading with the government for help by now, but even if the strike ended in week 3, it would take weeks to untangle the mess at the ports. By now, inflation is beginning to rear its ugly head. Everything from groceries to gas to clothes is more expensive than it was just 2 weeks ago. Week 4. This is when it becomes the full weight of the strike is unavoidable, and I believe it becomes a national security problem. And possibly by this time in week 4, it is just one part of what I am looking for, and we'll explain later on the show, a polycrisis. A polycrisis is what will take us out in a knockout blow. And you already have a little bit of a polycrisis with the dock workers and the hurricane.
Yep.
Small businesses are now closing their doors because they can't get their inventory.
Hey, this is what the Lord said. The things of this world, let it go, man. In 2 Kings, right? This is what Elisha told Gehazi. Because Gehazi wanted the things that Naaman was trying to give Elisha, because Elisha healed Naaman of his leprosy, right? So this is what Elisha told Gehazi. Let me read about Naaman. This is 2 Kings 5:23. And Naaman said, "Be content, take two talents." And he urged him and bound 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with 2 changes of garments and laid them upon 2 of his servants, and they bare them before him. So this is when Gehazi went back to go get the talents of silver and the garments that Naaman wanted to give Elisha. But Elisha said, "It wasn't me that healed you, it was the Lord." So this is what Elisha told Gehazi when he came back from going to get the stuff. He thought Elisha didn't know. This is 2 Kings 5:26. And he said unto him, "Went not my heart with thee when the man turned again from his chariot to meet thee? Is it time to receive money and to receive garments and olive yards and vineyards and sheep and oxen and men servants and maiden servants. Solomon said that in Ecclesiastes 2, how he had everything, but he said it all was vanity. Why? Because it's not the kingdom of heaven. This is what the Lord told Baruch and Jeremiah. It's Jeremiah 45 in verse 4. Thus shalt thou say unto him, Yahweh saith thus, Behold, that which I have built will I break down, and that which I have planted I will pluck up, even this whole land. Talking about America, Babylon the Great. This time now. But the Lord is talking about Jerusalem. And seek thy great things for thyself, and seekest thou great things for thyself. Seek them not. For behold, I will bring evil upon all flesh, saith Yahweh, but thy life will I give unto thee for a prey in all the places whither thou goest. When you go to Haggai 1 and 2, it reads, Thus speaketh Yahweh of hosts, saying, This people say, The time is not come, the time that the Lord's house should be built. Then came the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet, saying, Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your seer houses, and this house lie waste? Now therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. Go up to the mountain and bring wood, and build a house, and I will take pleasure in it, and I will be glorified, saith Yahweh. Ye looked for much, and lo, it came too little. And when ye brought it home, I did blow upon it. Why, saith the Lord, Yahweh of hosts? Because of my house that is waste, and ye run every man into his own house. Therefore the heaven over you is stayed from dew, and the earth is stayed from her fruit. If you warn about everything else, if you warn about flourishing, trying to make it, you're going to lose, man. Us, the hopeful elect, as men and women, we need to be focused on building and adding to Yahweh Shema Shai's house. When you do that, that's a covering for you. In Psalms 25, it reads this. This is Psalm 27 and 5. See, when you add and building on the Lord's house, then you have a covering. This is Psalm 27 and 5. For in the time of trouble, he shall hide me in his pavilion. A pavilion is a place of coverage, refuge. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock. But when you are warned about the cares of this life, you're going to lose, man. This is James 4 and 4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of power, Yahweh Shema Shai. This is 1 John 2 and 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of Yahweh Shema Shai abideth forever. This is why Paul mentioned this in 1 Corinthians 7 in verse 20. In 1 Corinthians 7:31. And they that use the world is not abusing it. Why? For the fashion of this world passeth away. And when you read in Psalms 8 and 9 and 19, the Lord say, give us our daily benefits. So if you focus on building on the Lord's house as a man or a woman, as an Akim, as an Akia or Agwa, if you focus on building on the Lord's house, you're going to be covered, man. You ain't going to need to go buy no extra nothing, man. This is about faith. This is about your belief your faith. We've been mentioning this. Belief is one thing, but to know is a whole different thing, man. In Colossians 3:12 say, put on therefore as the elect. And as I read about what Elisha told Gehazi, is it time for us to get garments, gold and silver, and maids and servants, and olive yards and vineyards? No, man. This ain't our kingdom. This is why Solomon said in Ecclesiastes 2, he had everything, but it was all vanity, man, because it's not the kingdom of heaven. And the Lord finna destroy Babylon the Great, man. And whether it be now with this, or it comes at a later time, man, this is how Jacob Trouble want to start. They at least going to stop the food from coming in. They're going to stop the food, the water, the supplies from coming in, man. Everything is going to stop. Everything is going to stop coming in, man. Remember what the Lord said in Isaiah 3:1? He's taken away the stake and the staff, the whole stay of bread, and the whole stay of water, man. See, this thing that's happening is for the hopeful elect to see this and know that it's Yahweh Shema Shah. This is Habakkuk 1:5. And it's been told to you by the apostles, elder, bishop, and elders, man. And this is a repetition of Father skill over and over and over and over, man. If you tired of hearing the same things, hey, don't watch. Habakkuk 1:5. Behold ye among the heathen and regard and wonder marvelously. For I will work a work in your days which you will not believe, though it be told to you. Who would believe something like this would happen? You don't want to play this because he's finna go into the details of why, the reason why they are on strike. Who would believe something like this would happen? We said this is Babylon the Great, right? The greatest province on the planet Earth. Let's go back to this. Jake think this is a game, man. But this is Yahweh Shema Shah showing us, the hopeful elect, Lord willing will be up the elect number, to prepare yourself, man. When we do that Day of Atonement, when there's no food, when you don't eat no food, no water for 24 hours, think about that day coming for real, and you might have to go 2 days without eating. It's finna get real out here, man.
Grocery store shelves are sparse with some items missing altogether.
That's prophecy. And say earlier said the full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty, man. That's coming.
Your favorite brands might be out of stock. Maybe you head to the hardware store only to find the...
See, your favorite brands, right? That's why I look. Hey, and the Apostle Bob did a lesson about get ready to be uncomfortable, man. Get ready to be comfortable in being uncomfortable, man. See, when you hop out Shema Shah is numbing you up to this place, you don't got a favorite. There is no favorites. As Apostle Bob always say, we ain't living, we just surviving at best. And remember, the scripture said we just pilgrims, man. We just pilgrims on the earth when it said in Hebrews 11 that Abraham knew that he was just a pilgrim, man. And it's telling you so that 2 Ezra 16:40, prepare thyself for thy battle and be as pilgrims on the earth, man. We don't got no favorites.
The building materials you need are either unavailable or so expensive they're out of reach. Now let's talk long term. Timing couldn't be worse because we're heading into fall. And you know what that means. The holiday season. Retailers are counting on the next few months for a huge chunk of their sales. And the Christmas gifts you've been eyeing, there's a good chance they won't make it in time for Christmas.
You know what I mean? People finna bug out over celebrating what's this guy name? Sam Haynes, All Hallows Eve, Halloween, and Thanksgiving, and Exodus Yahweh Shai, that's what Christmas is. Actually, what do they call it? It's Satan's claws. not Santa Claus, Satan's cause. People finna bug out, man, if this continues, man.
Toys, electronics, clothing, they're sitting in ships or back ordered at factories. They can't get the parts. Even if the strike ends after 4 weeks, the backlog will last for months. Shipping will be slow, and prices, you'll be paying a premium for anything you can find. So here's what you need to know. Week 1, just be aware. If you want to get some fruit and you have some extra fruit in the house, for week 2, if it goes on that line, great. I can't imagine that this strike goes on very long.
See, he can't imagine. And this is the mind of the average person. They can't imagine this lasting long. That's why the Lord said, though it was told to you, you would not believe it. That's why Rahab 1:5. He said he can't imagine this. And this is the average American people mind, man. This ain't gonna happen that long. Oh, normative bias, right? Let's get the word normative bias real quick. Apostle Ramla brought this out years ago, and it just I'll never forget it, man. So let's look up normative bias. This is normative bias. And then when you put it up, they show you the pictures, right? Normative bias. So I can't play the word, but it says normative bias or normality bias is a cognitive bias which leads people to disbelieve or minimize threat warnings. Let's open this up. It's a cognitive bias which leads people to disbelieve or minimize threat warnings. Consequently, individuals underestimate the likelihood of a disaster when it might affect them and its potential adverse effects. The normative bias causes many people to prepare inadequately for natural disasters, market crashes, and calamities caused by human error. About 80% of people reported displayed normative bias during a disaster. The normative bias can manifest in response to warnings about disaster and actual catastrophe. Such events can range in scale from incidents such as traffic collisions to global catastrophe risk. So a person with normative bias don't believe. They be like, man, oh, it's gonna get better, man. Now they got some images. And when Apostle Ramla had first mentioned that, I looked it up. So there's a guy on the beach, right? It say normative bias causes people to underestimate the possible effects of a disaster. So the guy sitting on the beach, it say, now that's a huge wave. He sitting on the beach, he reading his book, he look up the wave coming right towards him. You can go to Google and pull this up, normative bias. Behind him, there's a guy running away. The guy running from the wave, but the guy sitting there watching the wave like as if the wave going to go down before it get to him. You got to pull it up, man. It's crazy. But normative bias is a person underestimating the possible effects of a disaster. Like, oh no, we'll get back to normal. This ain't gonna last that long. You heard what Glenn Beck just said. He can't imagine this going on that long. What if it go longer than 5 weeks? America is going to be in turmoil, man.
Because it will create a national emergency. However, I'm not sure if our president is too busy lathering on sunscreen at the
You already said it's going to create a national emergency. They're going to have to come in and bring food. And no, they're going to come in and set martial law because people are going to be out here rioting, man. People are going to be rioting. So it's going to be martial law, man. Order of KO.
Beach, or if his goals are just not the same as our goals to keep America safe and healthy. So I don't know why. Remember the train?
America ain't safe and healthy. We eating GMO food, breathing in chemtrails, and drinking contaminated water. And there's a Center for Disease Control, and these Edomites say, release that disease today. What the hell are you talking about keeping America safe and clean? Man, California, San Francisco, and Oakland is a damn tent city full of, ain't nothing but shit and piss everywhere, man. It stink, man. Downtown Orlando, man, stinks. What is this nigga talking about?
Negotiation, you know, he kept the trains running. We kept the trains running. He got involved immediately. And he made sure that strike didn't happen. Well, where is he now? And the media is saying, well, he can't really do anything, you know, maybe in a couple of weeks. Really? Maybe in a couple of weeks. He stopped the train thing from going into a strike. Why isn't he involved this time? He's Mr. Labor Union. So I don't know what's happening. In a normal America, the president would make sure this strike was settled. But wait until you hear what they're asking for and what they've already turned down. So if it goes 4 weeks, truckers, rail workers, warehouses will be overwhelmed trying to just move everything. Prices will stay high through the holiday season. Supply chains will struggle to recover. Holiday shopping season is going to be leaner, fewer options on the shelves, less to spend because inflation is going to chip away at your budget again. The economic hit won't be limited just to higher prices. Jobs will be lost as industry scramble to adapt disruptions. Companies may start shifting operations to avoid reliance on our U.S. ports in the future. That's great, huh? Potentially relocating manufacturing or looking to automate more of their processes to reduce reliance on labor. That will mean fewer jobs for the very workers that are striking today in the long run. So when you hear about the port thing, no, this is a very serious issue. Not today, but if you want to be prepared, don't go crazy at a Costco. Just make sure you have what your family needs in case things get worse. Because I have no idea what will happen. Now, let me take a quick 1-minute break and come back and tell you what they're asking for.
See, you don't supposed to know what happened. Only the messengers of Yahweh Shema Shah knows what's going to happen. Because it was written a 4 time ago for our learning. It's called Jacob's Trouble.
We should have had 20 years ago, but nobody would. Okay, so, when you hear what the dock workers are striking for, maybe you think it's reasonable, but let's get into the details. They're striking for 2 big reasons. One, they want higher pay. Everybody does. They want assurances that their jobs won't be taken over by machines, by automation. Everybody wants that. Got it. So on the surface, it sounds reasonable. Everyone wants better pay. No one wants to lose their job to a robot. But when you start unpacking what they're asking for and comparing it to the average American worker, and when you consider the long-term effects on our country's economy, especially in competition with China, picture gets a little more complex. Okay, first let's talk about the pay raise. The average longshoreman, the dock workers, already make about $100,000 to $200,000 a year. 6 figures. Some even earn more when you factor in overtime. Now, if you compare that to the average American worker who pulls in around $56,000 a year, that's quite a gap. Now, they're not just asking for more, they are pushing for significant raises. Sometimes 10 to 15% a year or even higher, depending on the location in the union negotiations. For someone already making $100,000, that could mean a $10 to $15 or $20,000 raise every year. Meanwhile, the average American worker, we're lucky to see a 2 or 3% raise. Lucky. In fact, with inflation running hot, many workers are losing purchasing power and wages are not keeping pace with inflation and the cost of living. But it isn't a small pay raise. Over the term of the next 6 years, They are asking for a 77% pay raise over the 6-year life of the contract. Now, they've been offered a 50% increase and have turned that down. Now, the dock workers in California and the West Coast, they got a 34% pay raise over the course of their contract. These guys are asking for 77% increase over the next 6 years, been offered a 50% and have turned it down, walked away. Okay.
Man, they finna fire all their ass, man. They don't fire all those motherfuckers, man. They don't need you, man. I did a lesson some months ago. They said that they are using AI to pick the crops, and the term they used was they don't need human resources anymore as far as picking the crops. So they say they got AI planting the seeds, and AI harvesting when the crops come in, man.
I mean, that's going to be hard for people to swallow. And understand, I get it. Dock work is tough. It's physically demanding. It is risky. It's not an old man's game. But the pay is already far above the national average, and their demands for even more seem a little out of sync with what most people are experiencing in their lives. And
it's crazy because the elder brother from Kansas was doing a lesson. He was like, he was going to get into doing all that crane work on the docks, and they making like $200+, man. To move them, to work a crane, to be pulling those freights off those ships, man. That's a lot of money, $200 an hour, man. But we get it, man. That's a lot of hard work, man. Unloading those ships, man. But hey, it's Yahweh Shema Shai, man. It's time. The Lord is turning. That Isaiah 42:13. The Lord stirring up just like a man of war. He's turning. He's moving these pawns and rookies, these bishops and these knights on the chessboard, man.
I am for people making as much money as they can, but we're all connected, and everyone has to remember this is a business. All of this stuff has to work for business. Everyone has to win, because if it's just the dock workers, nobody wins. Even at a 50% pay increase, that is going to be passed on to you in higher costs, and that's not the real problem. The real problem comes in what their second demand is. The dock workers want ironclad guarantees that the ports will not replace any of them with a machine.
Man,
now think about that for a moment. They're asking for a commitment that even as technology advances, ports won't introduce things like automated cranes or self-driving trucks.
Hold on. I done did it again. Bear with me here. Better get rid of that. Hold on here. Man, see, and it's a lot of Jakes. It's a mixed multitude on those ports, man. I don't know why these people think they're gonna give. You ain't finna get what you want from Esau, man. He don't owe people nothing, man. Hold on. If I can pull this up, moving too fast. Click the wrong thing here. These people think they're gonna get what they want, man. No, man, Esau will remove you. You can't go on nobody plantation demanding nothing, man. Nothing. Hold on. It's rocky here. Pull this back up. And that's the problem with people, man. Whether it's Jake or heathens, man, you can't go to this man plantation demanding nothing, man. Esau, get rid of your ass.
This is a conversation America and the world should have had 20 years ago, and I talked about it 20 years ago, and I talked about it every year since. We're going to come to a time where if you don't know what the meaning of life is, you're going to be kind of upside down because people are going to start losing their jobs. Maybe we should start looking at the jobs of the future and start training people for those because the average job is going away. Well, now you're in it. This is like AI. Should have had that discussion 20 years ago. But now we're all scrambling. Why? Because there is no leadership in this country. That's why. There's no real leader. And without vision, without a leader with vision, the people will perish.
See, he just quoted Proverbs 29:18. Where there is no vision, the people perish. See, that's why the scripture talks about a wise king instructed his people, man. See, if the right people was in authority, this wouldn't be happening. Because we'll all be getting paid at the end of your shift. You'll be getting paid daily. It's supposed to be daily pay. This is how Yahweh Shema Shai established work ethics in the earth, man. You get paid daily. And it wouldn't be no bull. Because everybody get paid daily, man. See? This is why, because the wrong people is in rulership, man. And I gotta get it. I ain't mean for this to go this long, but it's the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai. Proverbs 29. See? Everybody mourning, man. Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. The people are mourning, man. Because we got the wrong people that's in authority. As the scriptures say, that how much more for servants to be rulers, man. It's a let me see if I can find this. What is that? So you got this one here in Proverbs. It's Proverbs 30 and verse. Proverbs 31 and where is it? Is it 31? Hold on, maybe 30. Yeah, Proverbs 30:21. For 3 things the earth is disquieted, and for 4 which it cannot bear. For a servant when he reigneth, and a fool when he is filled with meat. See? For a servant when he reigneth, and a fool when he is filled with meat, man. And this is talking about these leaders. So white man, he's filled with meats. But we got a servant that's reigning, man. A servant. And this is why the people is mourning. What it said in Isaiah 3:12, children are our oppressors. Let's read this. These niggas ain't no these man. Isaiah 3:12. As for my people, children are their oppressors. These niggas is children, man. Those who reigneth, the servants that's reigning are children, man.
And that's what's happening. So I can sympathize with the dock workers. No one wants to be told we got a machine that can do your job faster and without breaks. Is happening. Just like AI now, it's too late to stop it. It's happening. So now we have to figure out, how do we retool instead of just saying, you know what, you're out. How do we retool? Because if we don't retool, if we are acting like people who said the horse and buggy have to be kept, we lose. China, their ports, have you seen the video that's circling the world now? The ports in China are highly automated. It's like one office, and the whole port runs in one office. They move goods faster, more efficiently than we do. They have automated cranes, AI-driven systems. The robots work around the clock, minimal human interference. It is safer, faster, cheaper. This allows China to process millions of more containers than we do at a fraction of the cost and time. Why do you think people buy their products from China? Because they've, through slave labor and now through automation, they can make it cheaper. If we don't automate our ports, we are putting ourselves in a disadvantage for a long-term knockout punch.
And this is why the Lord said he's taking away the stay and the stale, the whole stale bread and the whole stale water, man. This is the transition of the so-called white man's power, man. AI. But the Lord only gave him the technology, his knowledge. When it said in Daniel 12 that wisdom, it said that knowledge shall increase. It's only increasing for them to make missiles, man. That's the highest it's going to go. This AI. But this is what they heading at, man. They trying to get rid of human. They said they don't need. They trying to eliminate human resources, man. Human resource. The word human resource. The word human resources mean you workers, the people. So these guys that's doing this, man, this is all. It's all set up, man. As the elder brother, I'm gonna go by this. Let's order our KO, man. They gonna get rid of their ass. And they would have been did it if they had enough robots to put on those ports, man.
Global trade is cutthroat. Companies will ship through countries and ports that can move their goods faster and cheaper. And if the U.S. sticks with old labor-intensive methods, shipping companies will look elsewhere to countries like China that can get the job done more efficiently. This will mean lost business for U.S. ports, fewer goods flowing through our economy, and ultimately fewer jobs for dock workers in the long run. I'm sorry, gang, have to automate to be able to compete in today's world. If you're willing to go back and live like the old-timey days where, back around the turn of the century, 80% live below the poverty line. Okay, 80% of Americans. So,
man. So, yeah, man. This is the Lord doing this, man. Everything must go, man. Babylon the Great is being destroyed. It's a slow kill from the inside out. Lord was edifying here to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rekah Kodash, double honors to the apostles, and the bishop, that was a great millstone, rule well, teach well, for the apostles and elders of all the Israel, whether accepted or not. And the sincere salutation to all the Akim, pushing this truth, believing this truth, for the four winds of the earth, the entire world, shedding light to the hopeful elect. Shalom to the wealth world, listen, learning. If your sister listen, learn to all tune in. May you help us, Shema Shakatim, put in your houses. Hold on. Did I show this? Hey, to all tune in. May you help us, Shema Shakatim, bless you in your houses. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. I didn't play this yet. So hold on. I'm going to play this too. Hold on. I want to play this too. So let me play this here. Then I'm going to close.
обновленной редакции. Хорошо.
Через несколько секунд после взрыва диаметр пылевого столба составлял около...
Will Vladimir Putin go nuclear? The Russian president is making fresh threats. Today, he sent another warning to the West. Putin says if Russia is attacked, it reserves the right to respond with nuclear weapons. Listen to this.
We reserve the right to use nuclear weapons in the event of aggression against Russia and Belarus as a member of the Union state. All these issues have been agreed upon with the Belarusian side, with the president of Belarus, including if the enemy, using conventional weapons, creates a critical threat to our sovereignty.
Putin has made such threats before. So what's the big deal about this one? Why is it making headlines? Because Putin is redefining Russia's red lines. He has revised the country's nuclear doctrine for the second time in 4 years, and it sends a clear message to Ukraine and its Western backers. If Russia is attacked by any conventional weapon, if it detects any incoming attack, whether it's missiles, drones, or aircraft, Russia could respond with nuclear weapons. That's the message in a nutshell.
We will consider such a possibility as soon as we receive reliable information about a massive launch of aerospace attack means and their crossing of our state border, meaning strategic or tactical aircraft, cruise missiles, drones, hypersonic missiles, and other aircraft.
You may have heard of the no first use policy with respect to nuclear weapons. It basically means that you won't fire nuclear weapons first. No first use. You'll only resort to nukes when you come under a nuclear attack yourself. India follows this policy. A lot of countries do, but Russia is evidently junking it. It says it will use nuclear weapons in the event of any attack, nuclear or conventional. The question is why? Why is Putin issuing this threat now? Well, he's responding to Ukraine's attacks inside Russia. The incursion in Kursk. In August, Ukrainian troops captured parts of the region, the Kursk region, and they now claim to control territory here, along with some 100 Russian settlements. They're in Ukrainian control. Now, this offensive has emboldened Zelensky. He wants to launch a bigger offensive. He's been pushing his Western partners to support his plans. Zelensky wants to use Western missiles in this operation, like the British-made Storm Shadow missile and the American ATACMS system. Both are long-range missiles. They can be used to strike deep inside Russia. The West is yet to make up its mind on letting Ukraine use these weapons. But Putin seems to be preempting the threat. So if Ukraine hits Russia with a missile or any other long-range weapon, he says he might retaliate with a nuclear attack. That is the warning from Vladimir Putin. And Russian mouthpieces have been amplifying it. For the past few weeks, they've been discussing war scenarios. Where could Russia deploy its nukes? How would it showcase its capabilities? And one of the options being discussed is this. For Russia to build replicas of Western cities like London and Washington, D.C., these would feature mock-ups of famous landmarks like the Buckingham Palace, the Big Ben, and the White House. Then they would be destroyed by nukes. An expert from a Russian think tank gave this idea. He made these comments on Russian TV. So the nuclear rhetoric is getting louder. And Zelensky is raising an alarm. He says there will be an escalation from Russia and that Putin is gearing up to strike Ukraine's energy infrastructure, specifically its 4 nuclear plants.
Now Putin does seem to be planning attacks on our nuclear power plants and the infrastructure. Any missile or drone strike, any critical incident in the energy system could lead to a nuclear disaster.
Zelensky, as you can see, is in the U.S. He addressed the United Nations General Assembly yesterday. He also met U.S. President Joe Biden. He's using this trip to build support for a victory plan, the details of which remain scarce, but it's basically a push for more military support and more security guarantees. Joe Biden has just a few months left in office. So Zelensky is perhaps hoping to extract as much as he can from the Americans. Will Biden...
Anyway, man. Yeah, about Shamal Shabrak, though.